Olympic champion.
So how long does that fight last?
Listen, my opinion, it's 1 round.
There's been some talk about possibly Joshua using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
You make of that?
Anthony by murder.
By murder?
Yes.
Golly.
Might knock his head off a little bit. Like, it might be special effect, but it might, like, go out.
Like legit?
Boxing legends weigh in on the Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua showdown. Usyk is convinced the fight won't reach the end of the first round, noting that his 2 battles with Joshua taught him exactly how destructive Joshua's power is. He argues the event is driven mostly by money, offering nothing meaningful to the sport itself. Usyk believes Joshua needs only a single opening to expose the massive gap in strength. For him, this isn't a competitive fight. It's a brief encounter in which Jake steps into territory far beyond anything he has ever faced.
Complaining about AJ taking that fight. Obviously, it's a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
Do you see something wrong with AJ taking that fight?
This is just a lot of money. It's just a show.
Right.
This is not interesting sport because, guys, brothers, Anthony, it's Olympic champion.
Right.
Jake, it's just sportsman. Yeah, YouTuber. Jake do a lot of work. Special coach, special food, a lot of exercise, new.
Yes.
But this is guy don't have a mother fights.
Right.
Never.
Right.
A mother fights. Maybe them wrestling, now professional, but Joshua, Anthony Joshua, it's Olympic champion.
So how long does that fight last?
Listen, my opinion, it's 1 round. Because Anthony, twice. My fight twice. Jab,
Very hard.
yeah, look. You know, this is,
And still from his
this
fight.
is jab.
Tyson Fury delivers the most surprising prediction of the discussion. He boldly claims that Jake Paul will knock out Anthony Joshua, a statement that shocks both fans and analysts. Fury insists Jake is growing physically, training heavier, and evolving into a sturdier fighter. He argues that momentum can outweigh experience and that Jake's rise, confidence, and commitment shouldn't be dismissed. Fury acknowledges his love for unexpected remarks but maintains that this prediction is genuine. His view remains controversial, yet it adds weight because it comes from a heavyweight champion who understands the division at the highest level.
About possibly Joshua using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Why so? What impresses you about Jake Paul?
I just think Jake Paul would knock AJ out. I think AJ's a spent force, and I think Jake Paul's on the rise. I like his new heavyweight look.
Teddy Atlas breaks down the matchup with a strategic lens. He recognizes Joshua's overwhelming strength but points out that Jake Paul is not entering the ring without assets of his own. Atlas highlights Jake's youth, faster recovery, and willingness to take risks older fighters avoid. He notes Jake's improved footwork, which could create uncomfortable moments for Joshua if underestimated. While Joshua brings size, history, and elite experience, Jake has enough tools to be taken seriously. Atlas doesn't predict an upset, but he stresses that Jake's hunger and mental freshness give him small opportunities that shouldn't be overlooked.
While we look at all the advantages that Joshua has, let's look at how I look at where maybe Paul has some advantages. He's younger, his feet are a little faster. I know he's not at that level of a fighter, I get it, but his feet are faster. Joshua's feet are not that fast, closing gaps, getting to somebody. To hit him, even if you're better than him, you still got to get to him to hit him. Also, Joshua, last time he fought was over a year. He hasn't fought. He was basically retired. Where's his mind at? He got knocked out terribly by Dubois. Where's his confidence? Where's his mindset? Where is he? Is he taking this fight the way that fans are, overlooking Paul, taking him for granted? Yeah, probably is. Might be. Does that weigh in? Yeah, that weighs in. People don't look at those parts of it. And the weight. Paul's smart. He always puts clauses in there. I know this is the first time he's fighting a guy who's bigger than him and all that stuff, but he put in a 245-pound weight, clause where he can't come in over 245. What is Joshua weighing? He was off over a year. He was basically retired. Was he 280? Was he 290? Was he 75? Easily could be the case. He didn't have a lot of time now to get to 245. How does that affect him? Oh, we forgot about that. It's a little thing, but it's not that little. It's the thing that Paul put there for a reason. Again, Paul hasn't made too many mistakes. He's been pretty damn smart. I'm not saying he's the fighter that Joshua is, but I don't know if Joshua's the fighter that...
Lamont Roach speaks with both respect and caution. He views the matchup as deeply uneven because Joshua's natural power and experience present a danger Jake Paul has never encountered. Roach emphasizes that Joshua doesn't need to unleash full aggression for the situation to turn severe. A single committed punch from a heavyweight of Joshua's caliber could end the fight instantly. He warns that Jake cannot safely absorb that level of power, and the physical gap alone puts Jake in real jeopardy.
Excuse me. My first thoughts was this guy's crazy. Not gonna lie. But I get it. Coming from a guy who's not a true traditional boxer, and to be able to have a position where he can fight a former unified world champion, former Olympic gold medalist, and to do it on such a stage where Anthony Joshua was a superstar as well. I mean, like, he sold out the O2, you know, twice. Absolutely. I think. So, you know, I think Jake is setting himself up for, you know, a huge spectacle, and which is, you know, kind of smart. If you're gonna go big, why not go to the highest, like the highest of the mountain? Why not? And I get it. That's what you call business right there. And I seen a lot of guys calling them out, from like Gabe to, you know, other guys who are boxers. Yeah, like guys who actually beat them. But why would he settle for those guys when he could fight Anthony Joshua? So I think that's, you know, I think that's smart. I think that's super smart.
Smart is one thing. What do you think happens in the ring, though, champ?
I think he gets hurt, for sure. I think he gets obliterated. Something close to like Francis Ngannou. I think something like that happens, and it's going to be bad for him. But there will be.
Andrew Tate keeps his message straightforward. He believes Jake Paul has stepped into an enormous moment and deserves respect for taking such a risk. Tate acknowledges that few people, fighter or not, would dare to face someone as dangerous as Anthony Joshua. For him, the result matters less than the ambition. Jake is challenging himself at a level most would never attempt, and Tate sees that courage is worthy of recognition on its own.
Just a couple more things before I let you go. Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua, your thoughts on this fight, and Mega One?
Yeah, huge respect to Jake. I mean, we all know what should happen on paper, but it's boxing. So huge respect to Jake. I have nothing but...
Sean Ali, UFC bantamweight and close friend of Jake Paul, shares honest concern ahead of the December 19th main event in South Florida. Speaking on the Bro Ali Show, he admitted that facing Anthony Joshua is terrifying. Ali warns that being knocked out by a heavyweight of Joshua's level can have life-changing consequences beyond career damage. He calls Jake's decision to accept the fight absolutely insane, stressing the real danger and physical risk involved.
O'Malley is scared for Jake Paul. All right, great. You know what? Thank you, Sean. And now that's now my phrase. I'm going to steal that from you from this moment. I'm going to use it going forward, because I didn't know how to describe my feeling about this fight, but I just got it. I'm glad I thought of it right after I read Sean O'Malley said it. Sean went on to say, there's certain punches, there's certain knockouts, there's certain concussions, there's certain ass whippings, there's certain beatings that are not equal to others. They're the kind of knockouts, of punches, of concussions, of ass whippings, and of beatings that change your life. They change lives. And O'Malley didn't elaborate on what that meant, but I know what he meant. I know what he meant. There is a confidence that a person has. From the guy that walks down the street, the most confident, he walks in the room and he's the man and he gets to live his life feeling that way and people will treat him that way. All the way down to the coward. who walks his wife like he's weak, who handles everything sheepishly. But one thing those two guys have in common is that neither of them actually knows where they stand. Neither of them has actually tested that theory. They got all the rest of society to go along with it. Therefore, they don't have.
Chael Sonnen offers a structured breakdown showing why he believes the fight is overwhelmingly in Joshua's favor. He lists height, weight, reach, power, and elite experience as advantages Jake cannot match. Sonnen acknowledges Jake's improvement but argues that his past opponents can't be compared to the level Joshua competes at. From physical attributes to mental readiness, Sonnen sees every category leaning heavily toward Joshua. His analysis avoids emotion and focuses purely on the factual imbalance.
The Francis Ngannou performance. What if Jake makes it 5 rounds, 6 rounds? What if Jake made it to the distance? What if Jake won a round? Now, it's very hard to believe. It's very hard to imagine. I think it's the big struggle with this fight. I cannot, off the top of my head, produce a fight for you in any form of unarmed combat that drew, that was exciting, where the audience did not have a reasonable expectation, an expectation to some degree that, well, if he does this or that, there is a way for this guy to win. And that's usually pretty easy to do because nobody knows anything about fighting. Nobody watching this right now, none of you, my millions of viewers, not one of you has ever boxed. Not one of you knows someone in the family. Well, my dad was a boxer. My uncle was a boxer. No, you don't. Not only are you not a boxer, you don't even know of a boxer. Now, I only share that because when I come out and say nobody knows what they're talking about when they're talking about boxing, like, it's not meant to be an insult. You don't know anything about boxing. It was never taught to you. None of you in recess boxed. None of your junior highs, your high schools, your colleges, your community colleges offered boxing. Your hometown didn't have a boxing gym. And really think about that. Because as much as you love the sport and as much as you think that you understand it, not only do you not understand it, you can't even have a conversation with other people who do because they don't understand it. So what is a win? I think that time counts. I think that time is a very big deal. You're in that little bitty ring, and I know a guy can run backwards, but running backwards is not illegal.
Chris Algieri approaches the matchup through Joshua's behavioral patterns in the ring. He notes that Joshua consistently fights according to the threat level he faces. Against dangerous opponents, he stays patient and calculated. Against smaller or less experienced fighters, he delivers dominant, decisive performances. Algieri believes this pattern applies perfectly to Jake Paul. He expects Joshua to avoid risks but finish efficiently when he chooses to advance. For Algieri, Joshua's reliability makes the outcome clear. He handles mismatches with precision, and this fight should follow that same trend.
His reputation as an elite heavyweight. Do you understand the analogy I'm getting to, Chris?
Yeah, and I agree. And, you know, but listen, Joshua's done this already. He fought a guy that he was supposed to destroy, right? And then he went out there and he destroyed him. And he didn't play with his food. Yep. He didn't say, okay, it was Ngannou I'm talking about, obviously. Of course. Who gave Tyson Fury fits and really had everyone questioning Tyson Fury's ability because he struggled with an MMA fighter in his pro boxing debut. Anthony Joshua didn't do that. He went out there and did what we all expected Tyson Fury to do and completely wiped the floor with the guy. And if Joshua doesn't do that this fight, I agree with you, Jimmy. It's going to hurt his stock. It's going to hurt the way that people perceive him moving forward. And also, I think, honestly, and if he doesn't go out there and just lay into Jake Paul and end it in the first, if not second round, to me, it's gonna look fishy to me. It's gonna look like this was a setup. This was an exhibition. This wasn't a real fight. If this is a real fight, it should be over in 90 seconds because Anthony Joshua is a legit gold medalist, big, heavy, super heavyweight, crazy athlete, awesome power, and Jake Paul just isn't on that level in any way. And he's not and he's undersized. You know, Jake Paul was fighting a cruiserweight in his last fight. He was under 200 pounds. You know, Joshua is a legit 250 pounds with abs, and the guy punches with the right hand like a cannon.
The one advantage Jake Paul has had in previous fights, and we all know people who have worked with him, and they go, he's got natural power. He can hit pretty well for his size. Not elite, right? Not world championship, but he can hit pretty well for his size. Paulie, that one advantage that he's had in previous fights is
Dave Allen gives a grounded, reality-based assessment by examining Jake Paul's past fights. He notes that Jake has rarely faced opponents who pressured him with real heavyweight force or volume. This allowed Jake to control distance and stay composed. Allen warns that Joshua will not provide that comfort zone. Even if Joshua applies only half the intensity he uses against top heavyweights, the fight could look nothing like what Jake is accustomed to.
But he could have beat Tommy. Could he win the area light heavyweight title? I'm not sure. Don't know who the champion is. If I had a look, I could tell you, but I'm not sure. He then boxes Nate Diaz. So he's boxed one boxer so far, if we keep in count, and he's beat none. Then he boxes Andre August, who I believe was a pro, and this is now at 14-3, so he's now actually a cruiserweight. Andre August, I'm not sure. Ryan Borland, 17-2. Again, I'm not sure. Well, fair play, he's beat two boxers here. Beat two boxers, what can I say? He then fights Mike Perry, who is an MMA fighter, bare knuckle boxer, he's not a glove boxer. He then fights Mike Tyson, which was an exhibition.
Barry McGuigan delivers one of the most serious warnings in the entire discussion. With decades around elite punchers, he stresses how dramatically a fight changes when a true heavyweight lands clean. McGuigan believes many fans underestimate the danger of Jake Paul standing across from Joshua. His message is not to insult Jake but to highlight the raw, unforgiving physics of boxing. To him, this matchup carries a level of risk far beyond spectacle, reminding everyone how brutal the sport becomes when fighters from vastly different power levels share the ring.
Some people are saying, AJ's grabbing the bag. There's nothing wrong with that, because anybody else, if they got offered that kind of money, they would do it. So, yep. And some people are suggesting he might damage his legacy. Where do you sit with the decision of him taking that fight? And it's a professional 8-round fight as well.
Yes, it's a highly dangerous fight for Jake Paul. I don't know what he's doing, unless they have done some sort of caveat or some sort of agreement that he says he's going to go easy on him, or he's not going to go flat out. But I've been tossing this up and down in my mind and trying to figure how, and under God, when he had agreed to fight someone like Tank Davis, who is